Hello everyone, and welcome back to Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Previously, Apollo and Trucy explored the park and found a great many bits of evidence, not the least of which included Guy Eldoon's noodle cart and Walkie's knife, which was embedded in the ground, and it even has his fingerprints on it. But that's good for Walkie because he really wants to be convicted of murder. It'll give him street cred. Also of note is that the prosecutor in this case is one Clavier Gavin, the twin brother of Christoph Gavin, Apollo's former mentor who went to jail for a murder of his own. So, it's getting really interesting. One last thing before we begin here. It has come to my attention that I completely missed a ladder. Or step ladder, rather. Yeah, in the garage with a green car right to the side of the Maractus Clinic. There was a step ladder in there. I didn't see it. At all. And I think that missing it and not examining it is the greatest crime I have ever committed in my entire life, so hopefully in the next day, when we can get back into the investigation phase, we'll have a look at it. So, time to pick apart Walkie's testimony. I'll tell you one thing. That doctor was a quacker. First of all, the word you're looking for is quack. And isn't that a little harsh? He's your family doctor. Who asked you, Pointy Locks? Just who do you think you are? Your lawyer? Look, I ain't trying to hear that. He was a quacker, plain and simple. Someone had to show him what's what. By someone, you mean... Was there anyone with the score to settle with this doctor? Besides you, I mean? You better ask somebody else, Holmes. What do I care? I made up my own mind and did what I had to be done. Straight gangsta style. But why were you so mad at this doctor? Yo, sit back and listen while I drop it, J-Man. That's a new one. I was in his clinic about half a year ago. He messed up my ops something bad. What is this operation? So you were a patient at the Maractus Clinic half a year ago. For what reason? I had what you might call a mark of honor. Can you explain precisely what was wrong? We had a little run-in with the Rivali's family. Okay. That's when I pulled a jack move. And ran into an ambush. She busted a cap right in me. According to my sources, you couldn't stand the stress of waiting. And ran in 15 minutes before the appointed time. By yourself. Hey, I was more than a match for those guys. So you were carried to the Maractus Clinic from there. Apparently he was shot in the heart. Jesus Christ! Shot in the heart? And he's still alive? I can catch bullets between my teeth. But I never learned how to catch them with my heart. Please never learn. The bullet stopped just short of my thumper, you know what I'm saying? I would have been golden if it weren't for that whack doc. Can't even take out a stupid bullet. Wait, what? The bullet's still in there? So, as you say, the surgery was a failure. That ain't all of it, Holmes. And then he just lets me go without a word. See you later, bye. What do you mean he just let you go without a word? What do you think it means? It's whack, that's what. I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds bad. It sounds as though our doctor wished to hide his mistake. This is why he let the defendant go. He's a liar, straight up. He's a badder G than me. So I gotta go in, get another doc to patch me up again. So this bullet is still... You know it, I can still feel it. Right there in my chest, pressing up against my heart. Your words are like a bullet shot straight into my heart. Or something to that effect. Incidentally, that's from one of our hit singles. Well, that sounds like a straightforward case of malpractice. Word, J-Man. Weren't no accident, that's for shizzle. It seems that there were issues with this doctor. Man, putting him down was like doing the world a favor. Lucky, please consult your lawyer before saying things like that. Chin up, Apollo. Back straight. But why did this mistake only come to light that day? It was found during the family health checkup. Oh. The family checkup? That was the wackest thing of all. All us G's lining up, taking eye exams and all that. Better to die young than fade away, bizoy! A relief to hear. Oh, what's a relief? Oh? Did your father not tell you? That bullet you carry so close to your heart. If not attended to immediately, it could kill you. What? Yes, our Dr. Maractus had knowledge concerning this ticking time bomb in you. Knowledge that could have saved your life. No way, that's whacked. There is proof, your checkup report. I need to take a look at that immediately. Results from a checkup performed in June. Metallic object found near heart. 19, June 14th. Huh. Yep, that's a proof. June has to be super relevant, doesn't it? Oh. The murder took place in June. So it was 1 year ago. I see. Huh. How ironic that you would kill the one man capable of helping you. You're almost as careless as he was. Well, now that the place is hopping, let's get this gig started. Started? You've had enough of a warm-up act, yeah? Time to hear from the witness. Lucky sure is quiet all of a sudden. I'm a little uneasy myself. Is this Gavin's strategy? Whoa! Who the hell is this? Is this the other doctor who found it? So, you will tell us your name and occupation. Wesley Stickler. For the rules, I assume. My name is Wesley Stickler. By occupation, a profit society at large that supports a livelihood under which definition I must confess to being unemployed. However, we must acknowledge the meaning of identity which is commonly attached to the notion of occupation, and once we have accepted this reality, we see that our confusion is not gestalt per se, but drives its sense from the vagueness inherent in our representation of thought. Oh god, I hate him already. And by hate, I mean, okay, fine. By which he means to say that he is a student. A junior at Ivy University, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, in the Department of Science and Engineering. Filled with curiosity for all things, I spend my days in pursuit of truth, honing my... Herr Stickler, please direct said curiosity to the case at hand today. Very well, Mr. Stickler. Please testify to the court about what you saw on the night of the crime. You ask quite simplistically what I saw. However, I understand that Homo sapiens possess two eyes. One of these days, there are some data, some images in the form of... Oh, jeez. So, no, this is not the doctor. This is a witness. Okay. That night, I passed through the park on my way home from shopping, when I saw them. One man pulling a stand, another man facing him. I saw them quite clearly. The man facing the victim was the defendant. In his hand he held, yes, a pistol. It was pointed at the man pulling the stand. A shot! The bullet hit the man pulling the stand from the front, square in the forehead. Wow, there's a whole lot wrong with that. Was there anyone else in the park at that time? I can say with 100% accuracy that there was not. The pistol our witness refers to is this. The court accepts this into evidence. Can I dust for prints? Very well. Mr. Justice, you may cross-examine the witness. Yes, Your Honor. Trucy? Why are you staring like that at the witness? That man. I can't help but feel I've seen him somewhere before. Really? Oh no. What? You don't think he's the panty thief, do you? Oh, jeez. Well. Okay. I need to look at the gun. Two rounds were fired. Fingerprints were wiped. I see. 2 rounds fired. Whoa, don't point that thing at me. Don't worry, I can handle myself around guns. Magic guns, at least. The ones that pigeons come out of. Very reassuring. Okay, so does this mean that every time you examine evidence, it's just Trucy rotating around for a polo while he looks at it? That's cute. So yeah, no prints. Got the hammer, got the pommel. Looks like there's nothing of note. Just nothing. The chamber. How about the very bottom? No? Yeah, this gun is not suspicious at all. Now then, I think I know exactly what to do, but just for content's sake, let's read everything. That night I passed through the park on my way home from shopping, when I saw them. On the way home from shopping, you say? Why go through the park? Ah, fascinating inquiry. Revealing me culpable of being insufficiently verbose. Let us consider the time saved by passing through the park on the way home from the store. In that time, I am capable of solving 2 GMAT problem sets. On average, it requires me 3 minutes 24 seconds to ergo the time to complete 2 is on average 6 minutes 48 seconds. However, in the case that the questions are the verbal category, admittedly not me. That's enough. Enough! I get the idea. Mr. Justice, the court hopes to finish cross-examination sometime this month. Please, I have a recording booked after this trial. And I've got a show to perform. Gee, sorry you're all so busy. One man pulling a stand, another man facing him. Were these men talking by any chance? Now that you mention it, they were, though I cannot claim I heard them clearly. Only fragments, such as, "You lied to me," oh, and I'm gonna give you a taste of your own medicine, pal. The man's name is literally Pal. It's just as our defendant claims. I believe he wished to teach the victim what it felt like to take a bullet in the heart. If that's true, then this is a vital piece of testimony. Well, the bullet entered the skull. Sounds like he heard them clearly enough to me. Might I be allowed to amend my testimony? What now? To be precise, he did not say pal, but man. Yes, that was the way of it. I swear it on my diploma. What's the difference? And this other man, who was he? I saw them quite clearly. The man facing the victim was the defendant. How can you be so sure it was the defendant? The crime took place at night. It would have been too dark. Perhaps I was remiss in not mentioning this earlier. Huh? You see, in class I always sit in the very backmost seat. Do you know why? Because you want to be an anime protagonist? Who cares? Because I do not wish anyone to copy my perfect notes. And this relates to your testimony how? I mention this to illustrate my predisposition to that which is perfect. It was dark, you say, yet there are lights in the park. If I say the defendant was in the park that night, then he was in the park that night. It is a hard, immutable fact. He sure is confident. He seems to be telling the truth, too. In his hand he held, yes, a pistol. It is pointed at the man pulling the stand. Are you sure the pistol you saw is the same as the one just submitted as evidence? Am I sure? Surely you jest. Or so a common witness would be tempted to say. Huh? Yet I am no common witness. I see not only events as they are, but the logical structure governing these events. First, we must consider the fact that it was night in the park, which my fields of vision do insufficient limitation. And consider that the pistol, let us call it Object A, was indeed shrouded in darkness. It becomes difficult to say with certainty that Object A was indeed Object A. I think he means he couldn't see it that clearly. My badge for a normal witness. Yet the fact that a pistol was fired before my eyes is indisputable. I can still see it when I close my eyes. The defendant raised his weapon. A shot. The bullet hit the man pulling the stand from the front, square in the forehead. Are you sure about that? Let's go to present. Autopsy report. Cause of death, single bullet to the right temple. That's not square in the forehead. Objection! Phew. That's all of it. I think I have a chance. Is that you relaxing, I see, Air Justice? Objection! Once is quite enough, Mr. Justice. Apollo, pace yourself. This trial's not over yet. Right. Look at this. The autopsy report? Is there a problem with the autopsy report? Right, a problem. Yes, the problem is the location of the entry wound. The location? You testified that the killer shot the victim square in the forehead. Did you not? I have already determined your angle of inquiry. Allow me to explain. It is quite simple, really. First, understand that when I say square, I speak not of geometrical absolute. What do I mean by this? For example, the deflection of a meter is The wavelength of light emitted by the krypton particles we all know, in addition to this well-known fact that krypton particles are rare and invisible to the naked eye, which points to a basic fallacy in your line of reasoning, namely that what... Mr. Justice? Yes? Was your objection to these, krypton particle things? This is the big time, and you're obsessed with something so small. You disappoint me. No! I'm obsessed with something big. I mean, there's a bigger, less nitpicky problem here. Do tell. Just look at the autopsy report. The location of the entry wound was... the right temple. Temple? Mr. Stickler, you said quite clearly that the victim was shot square in the forehead. That's a contradiction. Isn't it? It is, right? Finally.
Objection!
Air Justice. Oh, Air Justice. Yes? Your tactics are outdated, trying to shake the witness by objecting to trifles. Surely you haven't forgotten the fatal wound your master suffered 7 years ago. What? Oh, that master. I was thinking of Kristoff. Yeah, Phoenix did... Wait, no, 7 years ago. Wait, what? Phoenix, right? Wait, I didn't read that, actually. I should have read that. I think that was critical. My eyes were upturned, closed in thought. Wait, what did that say? Uh-oh. Crap. Anyway. Look, I know the wound was in the wrong place according to this testimony. Yerk. Hey, Air Forehead. Forehead? Let us imagine you are walking through a park. You see two men facing each other, one with a pistol trained on the other. What would you do, Air Forehead? Well, I guess I would try to stop them. I'd probably shout, "Stop!" And you, Fraulein? Me? Well, I'd probably scream, "Eek!" And you, Air Stickler, what did you shout, I wonder? Ack! If the victim turned his head at the last moment... Gulp. Ah, yes, thank you for jogging my memory. It sounds like that's a typo. An addendum to the testimony is required. As soon as the killer raised his pistol, I took action. "Cease this at once, you two!" I cried with composure. Oh, look at that. If the man pulling the cart turned to look at Stickler from here, the bullet should enter his left temple. Wait. No, actually, wait. No, that's completely correct. It should enter the right. Oh. As I said, I'm bad with directions. The victim turned in the direction of my voice, and a shot rang out. Whereupon our cowardly killer, the defendant, appeared to have become frightened. Tossing the pistol aside, he fled from the scene. Then who wiped the prints? I see. So you attempted to stop the crime. Indeed. With composure. Well, maybe the criminal wouldn't have fired if he hadn't shouted like that. That doesn't really matter now, unfortunately. Let us consider this new testimony, shall we? Observe this diagram, if you would. The witness, Mr. Stickler, was it, stood here. He shouted, "Oh, stop, please," or something of this nature. And the victim responded by looking in the witness's direction. if the killer were to have fired at just that moment. As we can see, the bullet would have struck the right temple, as in the report. That does seem to be the case. Witness the power of a junior in Ivy University's Department of Science. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may cross-examine the witness. Is there anything showing that the victim was deaf? Hold up, oh, the cell phone. Wait, does the cell phone have a speaker? Hold up. Okay, no, this thing at the top is totally a speaker. It totally is. Yeah, empty. Right temple. So how does the knife figure into this testimony? It doesn't. So wherefore came the knife? It would certainly allow for free movement of the head, sure. Ah, 2 rounds were fired. If it was a single bullet to the head, then wherefore came the second shot? That's what I think I'll get him on. As soon as the killer raised his pistol, I took action. So you saw a raised pistol. Weren't you frightened? It can be said we students of Ivy University know no fear. The moment I saw that pistol, my inner sense of justice compelled me to take action. That was certainly brave of you. You might have gotten shot. Huh? You certainly were lucky. If I were in the killer's shoes, I certainly wouldn't have left a witness behind. He actually looks like he had no idea what he was in danger. Regardless, I attempted to halt the bloodshed. Cease this at once, you two, I cried, with composure. Are you sure both men were able to hear your voice? They were, of course. My high, exquisite voice echoed through the park, and the victim responded to the clarion call. Quite. The victim turned in the direction of my voice, and a shot rang out. Did you hear the gunshot at the same time as the victim turned? Indeed, I would say about the same time, to be precise. And the victim didn't ask you for help. It can be said that he didn't have time to ask. He didn't even have time to take a single step. I'm totally sure that the killer fired because Mr. Sigler startled him. Don't say that too loud, Trucy, please. Whereupon our cowardly killer, the defendant, appeared to have become frightened. Can you describe the killer's actions more clearly? He seemed quite surprised, especially considering that it was he who did the deed. As we can see, human psychology is a tangled web indeed. He simply couldn't believe what he had done. He shot, he panicked, a common tale, but true. Unfortunately, before I could take further action, tossing the pistol aside, he fled from the scene. You didn't try to apprehend the criminal? It all happened so fast, I'm afraid I hadn't the time. Does something about that strike you as odd, Apollo? Oh, what? The killer was in a hurry, right? He fired the pistol and tossed it right away. According to the testimony, that's what happened, yes. Oh, according to the testimony, that's what happened, yes. In that case, I'd expect to find something that we didn't find. Find something? Find what? Yeah, we didn't find the pistol at the scene of the crime. I like that contradiction. Kinda sad to see it go. Not as sad as I feel. What do we do now? At least the testimony's getting a little clearer. She's right. Maybe I can find something to use in this new testimony. So, I do think I need to call him out on the fired the pistol, threw it away, ran. No, there were 2 pistol shots. A shot. Singular. Tossing the pistol aside, he fled from the scene. You know what? Maybe this is where I bring up the knife. Maybe I say, nuh-uh, this knife was here. What about this? How did it get here? It has Walkie's fingerprints. You know what? I'm gonna try the knife first. Even if it does mean implicating Walkie further. Oh, really? Interesting. Huh. Yikes. Well, that's my first blow. Okay. So if it was tossed aside, how did he wipe it for prints, and why was it fired twice? Objection! Yeah, that was probably the more obvious one. Wait a second. Tisk, another misleading request. Yet you're so beholden to your own mode of discourse, you can't see how it affects you. Come again? Wait a second, you say. A second? Are we intended to wait just that, a single second, 1/60th of a minute? Wow, he is earning that name. That's hardly enough time to draw a breath, let alone make a statement in court. Now, had you asked for a longer period of time, say 3 minutes 35 seconds, say, Mr. Justice. Yes, Your Honor. Am I to understand you are objecting to the length of a second? Yes, I mean, no. Here, just look at this pistol. It doesn't have a single fingerprint on it. Ah, a common ploy, made all the more common, I fear, by the prevalence of television. Criminals these days are loath to leave fingerprints. Wait, but you said the killer tossed the gun and ran. That's right. He didn't have time to wipe the gun for prints. Ah, the little girl sticking it to the university student. There's a son in there. I'm not little. Let's think like adults, shall we, Fraulein? Huh? What if the killer, the defendant, was wearing gloves? Gotta admit, I didn't think of that, Apollo. Well, Mr. Justice? Could the killer have been wearing gloves? No way, we have his fingerprints on the knife at the scene of the crime. The record of the murder weapon is very clear about one thing. The fingerprints were white, which means some trace of prints remain. Which contradicts your testimony. If everything happened as you say it did, he wouldn't have had time to wipe the pistol. That may be, but it does not change what I saw. The killer, the defendant, he threw down the murderous weapon from his hand and fled. And this pistol was found at the scene of the crime, strongly suggesting that this was the weapon he disposed of. That sounds solid to me. Well, Air Forehead, any of your precious objections? What gives, Apollo? Let's see that voice training go to work. You know, I've only recently realized something. No matter how much you train your voice, it doesn't matter if you have nothing to say. What do you mean, nothing to say? Isn't it obvious from what the witness just said? Isn't what obvious? When he restated what he saw just now, he said he saw Waki drop a murderous weapon. But that's not the same as being 100% sure of what Waki threw away. You're right. He's just confused because a pistol was found at the scene. Poor Mr. Stickler. It must be hard to be so perfect and yet so wrong. Well, it can be said that I'm quite offended. While it is indeed true that once I was received by the posted on the backboard of the application poor might be prefixed in the name yet as... What we can say for certain is that the witness saw the killer throw something. Does the defense have anything to say about this? Well, if what he threw wasn't a pistol, then it had to be something else. At least one person on the defense team seems to be thinking. I like that smile off your pretty face, Gavin. Perhaps you can inform the court as to the nature of this something else. What did the killer throw away before fleeing the scene? Why, the knife, of course. Is that a sword? I saw one of those on the late-night movie last night. Great, a sleep-deprived judge. This knife was found at the scene of the crime, with the defendant's prints on it. His prints? This single piece of evidence proves two important things. One, that what the defendant threw down wasn't a pistol. Two, that the defendant wasn't wearing gloves. Indeed. Oh, Air Forehead. You're forgetting two other things you've just proven. Huh? One, that the man the witness saw was the defendant, Mr. Waki Kitaki. Two, that the defendant was holding a knife with the intent of harming the victim. Neither of those things are crimes. Indeed. Underestimated Gavin and never underestimated Gavin, his lesson here. This court is of the opinion that our witness is fond of making assumptions. In that light, I believe it would behoove us to hear about what really occurred. With less assuming, please. It is always the same with you people. Mark left the house on foot, and 5 minutes later his brother left after him. How long would it take for Mark's brother to catch up to him? Assuming that Mark never had to stop for a traffic light. That doesn't even make sense. Assuming, yes, that's what I said. Assuming, as if that were a probable situation at all. Yet here you are assuming that my assumption is no better. Ahem. What this court assumes is that the witness will testify as to what happened after the shot was fired. I could not prevent the killer from leaving the scene. Nor could I simply leave the scene in good conscience. Ergo, I used my cell phone to call the police. Until the police arrived at the scene 10 minutes later, I saw no one else. Why didn't you chase the killer? He was, as you say, a killer. Of course I could have run him down, yet what would he have done when cornered? Sadly, it takes more than an aptitude for solving quadratic equations to know that. Did the testimony earlier not prove the defendant's presence at the scene? And do we not also know that there was no one else there? It seems clear that we have our killer. Does it not? Does it not, Mr. Justice? I better find a way to take this testimony down quick. I cannot prevent the killer from leaving the scene. Which way did the killer run? By that time, it was clear the killer had noticed me. Naturally, he ran in the opposite direction. I mean, he ran in the opposite direction from the Kitaki mansion. Akton, don't even think about pointing out that he was going away from his home. All he had to do was loop back once he was out of sight. Ugh, how did he know that's where I was going? Well, let's take a look at the map, actually. Oh. So... There's no telling what's above. So maybe the intent here is that Kitaki fled over to Mr. Wright's office and the Maractus Clinic or Eldune's house? I don't see anything here in that line of thinking. We're good. Nor could I simply leave the scene in good conscience. You are certainly composed for someone who just witnessed a killing. If one is to devote one's life to the pursuit of science, one must never flinch at the sight of little blood, nor be so moved by a chemical discovery that one drops one's flask upon the lab room floor. Oh, cool answer. Very cool. So nothing strange about how he acted. Trucy looks like she has something to say. Yeah. Let's see. Doesn't this mean that the only one who could possibly have cleaned the prints is him? Ergo, I used my cell phone to call the police. Wasn't your first thought to call an ambulance? It can be said that I have dabbled in medicine. The injury I witnessed, namely a single shot to the head, tends to result in death. Ergo, there is no need for me to call an ambulance. Oh, a perfect syllogism. I've never heard of that word. A proof in 3 parts. Exquisite, simply exquisite. He actually looks like he's going to cry. Until the police arrived at the scene 10 minutes later, I saw no one else. Can you tell us in detail about these 10 minutes? I stood in a state of heightened awareness. Anything could happen at any moment. Anyone could appear from any direction. Is that all? No one came. Nothing happened at all. I saw it all, which is to say, I saw nothing. It was late at night. It's not odd to think that there would be few people around in the park. So you just stood there watching. Not much to go on there. Trucy, if you've got something to say, by all means say it. I can't find a single problem with that testimony. Had enough at last, Air Forehead? Maybe it's time to back off a bit. No, there has to be something here. The defense still has some questions that demand answers, Your Honor. Your opinion, Prosecutor Gavin? Oh, let him play attorney until he's satisfied, I say. I will amuse myself by composing my next smash hit in my head. Very well. You may continue with the cross-examination. There's no evidence that could disprove this. Nothing that can disprove this. There's no evidence attacking this guy's character. Your cell phone to call the police. Now, is the cell phone we have on our person his? It might be. But is there... Wait. The accessory. Hold up. Can I pan it? Or... Let's look at this. That's purple. The strap is purple, just like his ribbon and, no, tassel. Yeah, but he's wearing like a blue brooch. Yeah, so what does that tell me? If you just wanted to know the time, you could look at the phone itself. Doesn't that mean this phone isn't actually working? The owner of this phone doesn't think through the details. Is there anything here that could tie him to this? Like anything at all? I don't think so. Oh. Found in a trash can. Someone would have stashed the bloomers in the trash can. Did that occur when Stickler was there? Use your cell phone to call the police. I want to read this again. Not an ambulance. Well, obviously his phone had to work because police did indeed show up, so you know what? Never mind. Maybe this is a red herring. Hold on. I want to keep looking. No, I want to keep looking. I think I have something. Until the police arrived at the scene 10 minutes later, I saw no one else. When was the time of death? Between 10:15 and 10:45. And the watch. When is the watch on this stopped? It stopped at 9:30, that's right. Assuming it stopped at the time of death, that would mean... But why would it? Maybe he fumbled and dropped his phone? You know, all we have against Stickler are just very loose connections. I think we do need to back off. Yeah, let's press and just get the dialogue to back off. Yeah, should I back off for now? Yes. There's nothing fishy about the testimony at all. It appears there are no objections to the witness's current testimony. There are any number of ways to explain the lack of prints on the pistol, Your Honor. Perhaps the killer really was wearing gloves which wiped the previous user's prints off. Then, after the deed was done, this fell out of his pocket as he was throwing the gun away. A mistake befitting of a small-time punk, in my opinion. No. No! It seems we've come to the end of the line here. No. That can't be all. How unfortunate. It seems that you weren't cut out to stand on the same stage as me. Were you, Air Forehead? I believe this brings the cross-examination to a close. Trucy, any moment now. This court will now declare a verdict for the defendant, Walkie Kitaki. Eek? What? Hello? Whomst? Trucy? Nobody move? What's the meaning of this? Who are you? There'll be no verdict in this court, not yet? Wait. Are you one of the Kitakis? The Kitakis? You mean the notorious gangsters? If you don't want to see me give the pretty little girl a new smile, do as I say. Oh, that is grim. Adjourn the court for 20 minutes. What? This court will not bow to pressure from the likes of... Air Judge. I see little point in further aggravating this gentleman. Recess 20 minutes, or I promise you you'll regret it. Wait! How did he disappear so fast? What the hell? Come to the defendant lobby, Apollo. I suppose I have no choice but to adjourn for a 20-minute recess. Bailiff, catch that mysterious man. That was random. What the hell happened? Trucy, are you okay? Who was that guy? Yeah, I'll save. Wait, no, I shouldn't do that. My bad. I'm confident I won't lose this footage. Trucy! Trucy? You move quick, Apollo. Good show, good show. Trucy, you're okay. I thought... Don't cry, Apollo. Those good-for-nothing gangsters. There are some things you just don't do. I'm pressing charges. Wait, just calm down, Apollo. Or else... This is all kinds of bullshit. I'm mad. Trucy? Look, I know Phoenix Wright is your father, And in recent years, he's had a predisposition to playing dirty, but this is shameless. I thought it was weird that her hat went missing. What the heck is that? Surprised? This is one of my best tricks, the amazing Mr. Hat. You look marvelous, darling. He's a big hit on stage at the Wunderbar. Wunderbar? Yes, I am a big hit. Ha, ha, ha. Well, what do you think? Do you like it? You mean you? Trucy, there are some things you just don't do. I'm pressing charges. Apollo, now is not the time to be threatening me. It's you who's being threatened here. Uh-huh. Remember what you said to Waki's father yesterday? You promised you'd save his son. But that testimony was rock solid. What are you suggesting I do? Look, once the judge declares a verdict, it's all over. If I can use my talent to stop that from happening, I will. Trucy, no more staged abductions, please. I'm not talking about magic, Apollo. I know when the witness isn't confident. I can perceive what he's feeling. It might not mean anything, but it's all we've got. You can see what he's feeling? Think back, Apollo. Yeah, I was wondering when this would come back into play. Think back to the times when there was a contradiction in his testimony. All the times. All the times there was a contradiction. Yeah, his sprite looked a specific way. Well, I think I remember them, sure. There were 2 times when he made statements he wasn't confident in. And each time there was a contradiction. In his hand he held, yes, a pistol. It was pointed at the man pulling the stand. Tossing the pistol aside, he fled from the scene. He said the man tossed aside a pistol, but it turned out he wasn't sure, and sure enough, there was a contradiction. Well, that's true, but how does that help us? Didn't you notice anything? Whenever he made a statement he wasn't confident in, he displayed a certain habit. In his hand he held, yes, a pistol. It was pointed at the man pulling the stand. Did you see it? The very moment he said the word pistol, his fingers got all tense, and he fiddled with the corner of the page in his book. How am I supposed to see that? Well, I could see it. How else do you think Daddy went 7 years without losing a game of poker? What? I always sat next to Daddy during big matches. I could see what his opponents were feeling. You mean that's how Mr. Wright won all those games? It's not cheating officially. I wasn't looking at their hands or anything. And I wasn't there all the time either. Daddy's quite good at poker after all, but not good enough to go undefeated that long. Great, so he cheated. What does that do for us? I don't believe this. You have to listen to his testimony one more time. No, scratch that. You have to watch his testimony. Perceive the truth. Yeah, That's a C truth. All right, Truth C. God damn it. Watch a testimony? Perceive the truth? The only thing I'm perceiving is that I'm going to lose. Not true. Daddy said so. He said you have the power, Apollo. Mr. Wright said that? Watch the testimony. Perceive his true feelings. Is she serious? Time's up. Sorry, I can't think of any other way out of this one, Apollo. What was that she said before the trial started? Huh. Mr. Wright's not here today? He said his old foot injury was acting up. Yes, he smiled when he said we'd be fine, as long as you're there, Trucy. Is this what he meant by us being fine? Well, methods aside, she did avoid one guilty verdict already today. Time to show this court what I'm made of. Get ready for justice. Let's do it. Apollo, you know, I'm starting to think I can do this. I knew you could do it all along. Oh, one more thing. Try to cover from Mr. Hat as best you can. I need to come up with a lie. I just flew in from the coast and boy are my arms tired. Damn it. Right. Okay. Court is now back in session. No, it is not. I need another recess. I just gotta say, I think it is friggin' genius that these game creators made the visuals of their visual novel series into a core gameplay mechanic. They knew it was a joy to look at these characters with their amazing designs and their over-the-top reactions. And now it's become a critical part of playing the game. I'm sure when they nailed that design decision, it was high fives all around at Capcom. Oh man, okay, so... yeah, that thing Trucy did, what with Mr. Hat and pulling a knife in the middle of court, that was some bullshit. But I think I could tell from the way how Clavier was not reacting, was just staying super calm. He saw it right away. He's a perceptive bastard. And honestly, he was fine with it because he's just here for shits and giggles. It's not even like a matter of intense revenge as it was with like Godot, or some stuck-up snobbery like Francisca or Edgeworth even. No, Clavier is here to have a good time. I really like that. That's one of my favorite kinds of characters, you know? The people who are just wanting to have fun more than anything else. Even if it means making chaos happen. So I assume next time we'll blow apart Stickler's testimony, then we'll bring back in Waki once more, and then once we deal with that round, things will probably end there for the court, and I'll be back to investigations. I'm still dead certain that the whole car crash and paint spilling and everything is all connected to the park shooting. Though in which manner, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, well, as always, so it's been a treat. So, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Thank you for watching, and hopefully, I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.